the beauty of this field is that you will find people from training in immunology, oncology, molecular biology, everybody finding a place in this field. So I guess the name of the game is, as long as you are able to mold your story, mold your educational training in a way that you can be successful in this field, it shouldn't be a problem for you to become a part of this field.
Welcome to the PhD Talk Show by Biopatrika. I'm Nandita Sharma, host for today's session with Dr. Shreyashi Bose, Process Development Scientist at Lonza. Welcome, Dr. Shreya.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, Shreya, you have done a BTech in biotechnology. So, tell us more about your educational journey and experiences before joining Lonza as a scientist.
Sure. So yes, as you pointed out correctly, I did get my BTech in biotech from India, and immediately after graduation, I came for my PhD at Texas A&M University, and I worked here on telomere biology in plants. And I graduated in 2020. I did a very short postdoc in a breast cancer lab, and I joined Lonza in 2021 November. So that has kind of been my educational journey before I started as a scientist in Lonza.
Well, true. So, what was the interview process like at Lonza?
Sure. So the interview process at Lonza, it was very similar to like how most of the interview processes happen in companies in the US. So usually you apply for the job online, and that's what I did. I applied for the job online. I did go ahead and ask for a referral from people in my network. So the way referral works is, these are people who are already working in Lonza, and if they know you and know your work, they can actually refer your resume to the hiring manager in the company. That holds a lot of importance, because now whenever the hiring manager gets your application, it is not only that he or she is getting a resume to look at, but also a recommendation from a fellow employee of Lonza that, hey, this person is good, you should consider hiring him or her. So that's what I did. So I was fortunate enough that people were able to refer me for the jobs, and then I got invited for an initial HR screen. So usually it's the person from human resources who is going to call you and ask you about several mainly behavioral questions, and explain the job to you, the position to you, so that you know what you're going for. And then usually their questions, if you're international students, will be regarding what kind of visa status you are in, and also how soon can you start your job, because some companies, they want to hire like right away so that you can start working right away, and some companies do give you some time to like finish the current job and then come for your next job. So I got invited for the HR screen, and once I passed the screen, within a week I got an interview with my hiring manager. During my interview with my hiring manager, it was a more detailed discussion about my education, about my training. The questions were related to more like how well I am suited for the job, and also what would be the expectations from somebody who is coming as a scientist in Lonza process development. And finally, after I passed that, I was invited for a panel interviews. It's a whole day interview where you are interviewing with multiple people. So they are usually will be in a panel of 2 to 3. You start with your team members, then your other managers, senior scientist, your hiring manager, your HR, and finally the head of the department. So that's kind of the interview process. And usually for most companies, if they really like you, you do hear back from them within like 5 to 7 business days, either with like a positive answer or a negative answer.
Okay, so very, very important points. So, can you provide me more details about what your week looks like as a process development scientist?
Sure. So, just to expand a little bit on my role, so I work as a process development scientist in a CDMO, which is a contract manufacturing organization, and we are in the cell and gene therapy business unit, meaning that we are working with multiple clients and developing their cell and gene therapy products at our department. And me, as a process development scientist, I'm actually taking care of the process side of it, which is very similar to actually, all the experiments or the processes you will do, biological processes you will do to generate a therapy or a drug. So, actually my week looks very similar to how it looks for maybe a PhD student or even a postdoc. So like some weeks, it's going to be very experiment heavy, so I will have my experiments or processes planned from the beginning of the week. I will be executing them with a team of other scientists and research associates and gathering all the data. And then either during that week I will be analyzing all the data, or maybe the weeks following that I will be analyzing the data. And of course there are some weeks, like all of us we have during our PhD as well, there are some downtime weeks where I'm reading literature or writing the report of the runs which I, or the experiments that I did the previous weeks. Depending on your position in the company, you might be pulled into client meetings and different kind of meetings. So for a scientist, sometimes I do have to meet with the client and talk about the progress of the project, but for some other meetings I do not. So this is kind of how my week looks. It's very similar to how a week looks maybe for like a wet lab scientist.
Well, that was very good points about all the work that you do. So, what are the skills you think are the most important for a job like yours?
Sure. So I think some of the things which I have learned over the years, which really helped me, get the job and also do good in the job, is first of all ability and curiosity to learn. Because if you look at my educational journey, I have done like multiple times at multiple stages of life, and it was only possible, I feel, because I always had an open mind and I was never afraid of learning something new. So I guess ability and curiosity to learn is plays a very important role in like making you suitable for big companies like this, especially in biotech. Ability to work in a team, very very important. Sometimes during when we are doing our PhD or our postdoc, because of the nature of the system, we kind of work in silo, right? I mean, we are our own project managers, budgeting everything we do on our own. But in an industry, or even in big labs, you have to work in a team. So ability to work in a team, time management skills, I guess that is again a very important factor, because you are working on multiple projects at one time. So it's just important to like work smart and not always working hard, so that you are able to encompass everything that you want to do. Project management skills, so I guess it comes hand in hand with your time management skills. People management skills, I think that is a very important thing that sometimes gets overshadowed by other technical aspects, because at the end of the day, even when you're in industry, you want to climb up the ladder, right? So you want to know how to manage your people. So maybe you will start managing undergraduates, then you will manage graduates, and so on and so forth. So developing that skill set so that you are able to work with everybody without hurting anybody's ego or whatever, that is also, I guess, a very very important skill, which, to be honest, I am also learning. But I guess the faster you learn about it, I guess the better it is. And ability to train people, so it's very important that the knowledge that you get is transferred to other people as well, because as a scientist, as you keep moving into the industry, you would be pulled into other directions as well, like for business work or administration. So you would want people who you can trust to execute the processes as well. So that's why trainability comes plays a very important role. And finally, in a role like mine, it was the ability to talk with the client, in a way that the client might always not understand very specific scientific jargon. So like trying to explain about the problem or the solution, but also not making it like super technically heavy, but also appealing at the same time. So I guess these are some of the skill sets. I think if you already have them or you're working on them, they will definitely help you to set your foot into the industry and succeed.
Very, very elaborate answer and very correct. Well, one little advice that you would like to give to someone who is considering this field.
So the field I am right now, the cell and gene therapy, it's a developing field. I mean, this is kind of a new field because precision medicine and things like that, they are developing slowly and gradually, and people are kind of finding more and more interest here. The beauty of this field is that you will find people from training in immunology, oncology, molecular biology, everybody finding a place in this field. So I guess the name of the game is, as long as you are able to mold your story, mold your educational training in a way that you can be successful in this field, it shouldn't be a problem for you to become a part of this field. And to be very honest, just by looking at the business predictions or the market predictions, this is a very developing market. I mean, recently there has been several FDA approvals of cell and gene therapy products. So I think this is just a field that is getting started with huge prospects in the future.
Right. So, what is the best way, according to you, to earn a job or internship in this industry?
So, first thing is network, network, network. Your network will help you with everything. Your network will help you find the job. Your network will help you find the mentors who can help you find the job. So the first thing would be, to have a very strong network. And I think LinkedIn has really blessed us with that opportunity to develop that network. I am also very active on Twitter, because on Twitter as well, you find a lot of opportunities, especially if you want to go to academic labs. So again, over there, you can create a very nice network. I think during my PhD, one thing I was not very good at doing is studying the market. If you want to go into the industry, just make sure that you are aware what is going on in the market, right? You would want to develop those skill sets, which is really people will want to hire you. So if you have those skill sets right off the bat during your PhD, it's a very nice smooth ride for you to do that transition. So like studying the market, keeping yourself updated about what's the skill set that is mostly required, having a well built resume, I think that is very important. So it's very hard to squeeze everything that you have done in your life in a 2-page summary, but that is the beauty of a resume, because you don't have to first start with 2 pages. Write down 10 pages of whatever you have done, and then you can keep on curtailing that in a way which is specific to the job, because maybe job A needs certain skill sets which you can focus, which job B doesn't. So having a well built resume, having a very targeted resume saves time for everybody. So I guess that's another very important thing. And finally, for me, I have always liked working beyond my lab. So like student organizations, volunteering jobs. So of course there I'm not learning anything science maybe, but I am developing a lot of interpersonal skill set, which can also have a very great impact on my career in the industry, and also later on, right? Like I have learned skills of conflict management, time management, project management, which are again things which industry is looking for in people. Because truth be told, like I cannot, there isn't a PI that I can go and tell that, hey, that's problem is happening, what can I do? So you will be in charge of taking care of everything. So I guess these would be some of the things which a person can do to for an internship. But I guess networking and having a very good resume, by good I don't mean that you have to be like, oh my god, like the superstar, top star. No, as long as you know what to tell people, in what way they want to know, you should be good. So yeah. That's kind of the things I can think about.
Right. So, you know, when we are talking about resume, so looking back at your journey, would you choose the same path for yourself? And if not, so what would you change?
So, in terms of my educational milestones, yes, I would absolutely choose the same path. Like everything that I have done, I feel has prepared for what I was going to do next. So, like I got my BTech in biotech, introduced me to molecular biology. I knew that I wanted to do something in that area. Came for my PhD, learned more about it, then went for my postdoc, learned a little bit more on the human side of it, and right now I'm doing application science. So in terms of educational milestones, absolutely everything was great, prepared me very well. But the only thing which I would not like to change but emphasize more in my life would be having a little bit more of immunology background, because I guess today's market is very immunology heavy, right? I mean, the jobs, they need you to know a little bit more about the immunology. But I guess that it's very hard to predict, right, where your field will be heading in 10 years. So I guess that's why it is very important that even if you're lacking a skill, just have an open mind. Tell people that, hey, I do not have this skill, but I can learn it in 3 months and I can do it. So that's kind of my motto. So yeah, I think whatever I did really, built on where I am right now.
Great. So I think one of the questions you have already answered, but if you would like to add something to it, like you have been an
Mhm.
active student volunteer during your education journey. How has that helped you in
Mhm.
your career?
Sure. So, if I go back and think about it, I guess working in student organization, it helped develop three things for me. First was my teamwork skills, next was my leadership skills, and third was my time management skills. Excuse me. So teamwork skills, because of course you're working with a team of people. You are now not working with only PhDs or postdoc. You might be working with, people from different department, different walks of life, but you all have a same motto, to organize something, to solve a problem, something like that. So this is very similar to what you're trying to do in an industry. So I guess working with that team, taking the ownership that, hey, we are one team, we are going to achieve it, is very important. And that is what my organization, contributions taught me a lot. Then of course leadership skills, because if you are a part of an organization, you'll be like, oh, this is a problem that I would like to solve with a group of people. So you come up with your own proposal, your own idea, and your own solution. And with the opportunity or the zeal to like have people working on the team with you and achieving that goal. So definitely leadership opportunities. And third is time management skills, because I was working on my PhD, right? So I'm in lab 12 hours a day, and then this was always additional, like, 2 to 3 hours. So I had to be very efficient in everything that I did. Like in my lab, I had to be efficient in finding those times in between where maybe a long incubation is happening, and I would go and do the student organization work. And exactly, that's the skill set that is needed in the industry, because you are working on multiple projects. So you will have to find that those time pockets so that you can be successful and do everything on time. So they have really, really helped me working in the student organization.
Hmm. So would you like to give some advice to the present PhD students?
Sure. So, first thing that comes to me is keep yourself updated, with the market, whether it's academic job, non-academic job, doesn't matter. Sometimes I have seen that, again, as I was saying, getting a PhD or postdoc, it's hard, right? It's a lot of hard work. You are in the lab the whole time. So it gets very hard to look beyond. Maybe if you're studying apoptosis, you're just reading papers about it, but take out some time to read what's going on outside. How can you reach where you want to reach in your life after your PhD, and what skill set can you develop while you're in graduate school for that. So that will be the next thing, is trying to keep an open mind, because truth be told, PhD for everyone is a pretty tough journey, right? And you always have obstacles. It's you something will work, something will not work. So having an open mind, having that resilience that, oh yeah, if this doesn't work, this we can look into this. So having that backup thing going on in mind, having that kind of a mindset can be a little helpful, because I struggled a lot with that. If experiments wouldn't work for me, I'm like, oh my God, what will do? This is the end. But having that backups ready also, I guess, sometimes helps. Taking breaks is very, very important. I have been a huge proponent of mental health, especially for people getting a PhD. So, it is very important that you take some break, come back from it, take a step back. If you're busy, like 2 to 3 days, get some rest, let your brain reset, and once you come back, you will be successful. Like, I'm confident about it. We sometimes get stuck in a limbo of like trying to solve a problem, and that kind of drains us out and also sometimes doesn't lead to any results. So just take care of your mental health. If you are in a toxic lab environment, if you are having problems, make sure you have a support group, make sure you're talking about it. It breaks my heart when I see news about PhD students like taking drastic steps about their life just because they didn't were able to talk about their problem and things like that. So always make sure that you're talking about it. PhD is a part of your life. PhD shouldn't be your life. So you have to be having that balance between the two. So yeah, just take care of yourself. Things will work out, I promise.
Very, very helpful and very important point, Shreya. So what is that one hobby that you still manage to do with this job?
Sure. So I have always been into yoga. I really like yoga. So even now, whenever I am stressed or I don't have time to like do intense workout or anything, I'll just like do some yoga, de-stress myself, and like really also burn some calories if possible, and then come back to work. And I used to sing back in India, so I got trained as a singer. So right now even singing is a very therapeutic hobby for me. So yeah, I'll just pick up my phone and like record something and just like sing or something. So yeah, those are kind of hobbies which have helped me sail through even my PhD. So I really hold them very close to my heart.
Wonderful, wonderful, Shreya. It was great talking to you, and thank you for this
Sure.
very informational session that you had with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.